This is going to be my review of the entire Obi-Wan Kenobi series. I could say season 1, but um, I'm hoping that there's no season 2. So this is a review of all 6 episodes of Obi-Wan, and if you look on my channel, you'll see individual reviews of episode 1, 2, and 3, and I neglected to do 4 and 5 because I couldn't be bothered after watching those episodes. Um, Look, I I didn't like this series overall. You can say it's just okay, you can say it's fine, but you're really just enabling at that point. Um, Overall and objectively, it's not a good show. Uh, there are some good things here and there. There are always going to be. If you're going to throw a bunch of darts at a wall, some of them are going to hit. But overall, first of all, aesthetically, this is really flat and boring. A lot of the shots are flat. Nothing looks cinematic. Nothing looks regal and grand. Um, like a story like this would be. And you could say, well, Star Wars stories don't have to always be like that. Right, but when you're telling a story with Darth Vader and Obi-Wan Kenobi, yes, they should be. And it's funny, after watching, I think it was episode 4, right after that, I watched the first episode of Miss Marvel. I think that came out the same time as Kenobi episode 4. And Miss Marvel looked like a visual masterpiece compared to Kenobi. Not just all of the weird doodles and stuff that were animated in the background, but also the camera was unlocked and it was moving around and it was kinetic, and lots of different little camera tricks were involved, like different perspectives, stuff like that. It just looked energetic, it just looked imaginative and fun, and there was energy to it. And Obi-Wan Kenobi does not have that. It's flat, 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 boring and flat. Just flat on, like, headshots, flat on showing a character, maybe a profile of a character as they're talking. It's just, there's nothing really exciting about the way this is shot. Also, I swear the whole show must have been lit with flashlights. It's so dark. Every planet they go to is dark, dark, dark. They go to, a planet at the towards the end of this last episode, episode 6. Um, Darth Vader and Obi-Wan have a final duel for some reason on a murky, misty planet. Uh, you know, Reva is stalking Luke Skywalker on Tatooine at nighttime, or at or at dusk or something. Everything is darkness. Also, a lot of the imaginative, creative aesthetic of Star Wars is missing here, and it looks like they just didn't want to spend the money on cool, like, creatures and masks and things. Everyone in the background is mostly human, human with dusty robes. That's about it. I don't really see the epic imagination and aesthetic wonder of Star Wars here. So in those respects, it doesn't really feel like Star Wars. As well, they waited until this last episode to uncork all of the iconic music themes, like the Imperial March and Leia's theme from the original trilogy, stuff like that. All of that stuff is conspicuously absent from the rest of the show, and kind of pulls back my joy of watching it. None of the new themes are going to be iconic and hummable and memorable. Not as much as those old themes were. To have them at the end, I assume they're going for some sort of dramatic impact, but wow, they're just missing for the whole show, and then all of a sudden they appear in a very low budget Rizats way. I mean, you can tell what horns and what elements are missing. If you've seen the movies like several times. Beyond that, the characterizations are all off. The story motivations are all off. It's difficult to follow, even though this is only 6 episodes. There isn't a lot for the makers of this show to juggle, but what they do juggle, they juggle very poorly. Um, Obi-Wan Kenobi, I don't even understand unless you just apply a formula to him. And the formula is they needed to give him a story arc. And the story arc is the only story arc they seem to know in Hollywood now is Hero's Journey. So, like, he has to be bad at a thing and then become good at a thing. But in order for a Jedi Master like Obi-Wan Kenobi to be bad at a thing, he needs to just not use the Force for 10 years, and now he's just not a master, which is ridiculous because he's Obi-Wan Kenobi. And so he has to go from being that bad thing to being a Jedi Master towards the end of towards the end of the series. And it's a false sort of manufactured conflict. I mean, you want to create some sort of like bad to good sort of scenario to create a character arc for Obi-Wan Kenobi. Well, then do something else. Like at the end of the last episode, there's an interesting little bit where Darth Vader says, you didn't kill. You have nothing to worry about or something like that. And he said, I could barely remember, but he says that, like, I'm the one that killed Anakin Skywalker, right? So, and he's sort of curiously absolving Obi-Wan of any guilt he had of failing his pupil. And I thought that was cool, and that could have been the arc then. Obi-Wan Kenobi, rather than not knowing that Anakin Skywalker became Darth Vader, does know and feels like just guilt about that and has a chip on his shoulder. That could be something if you want to do that, rather than just this lazy, like, I want to make him bad again, so he's starting from scratch. Why? It's so pigeonhole. Like, you're just manufacturing this out of thin air where it doesn't even fit the character. Why would a Jedi Master like that do that? The character of Reva is not developed and half-baked. It's hard to figure out what she's about. And because of that, it's hard to like her or have that character be endearing. I know that's what they're trying to go for because, spoilers, like, she doesn't die at the end of the series. Like, I know that might have been the intent originally, but that doesn't happen in this show. So obviously she's going to go on to new adventures. We'll probably get Reva series. Look, Reva is a character I can't really get behind because I don't understand what she's all about. They begin the whole show by showing Padawans during Order 66, and one of them turns out to be Reva. It's obvious because why would they show us that? But when you next see Reva in the first episode, she's one of the Inquisitors, and the Inquisitors have tension with her, and Grand Inquisitor, doesn't like her ambition, blah blah blah. And, right off the bat, they're manufacturing a brand new conflict that we've never seen in Rebels. Why are the Inquisitors not liking each other? Why is there a pecking order to the Inquisitors? In terms of, like, some are considered lower class or whatever than others. You have to take your marching orders and stop, driving outside the line. So they had to introduce that in this show to introduce Reva. That was problem number one. Problem number two, she tries to be a good Inquisitor by showing how tough she is and stuff, and at one point she cuts off some woman's hand. Well, in the 5th episode, it's revealed that, she was a poor Padawan that, saw Darth Vader kill all the Padawans and all the Jedi and stuff, and then she made a vow to get in good with Darth Vader and the Empire, and become an Inquisitor and get close to Darth Vader so she could like shank him or something. Okay, so if you're doing that, then she's undercover, and her intentions aren't to be an Inquisitor and all that stuff. Her intentions are this then, that they're good, that she wants to kill Darth Vader and get back at him over a long course of time, I guess. But then at the end of the 5th episode, Darth Vader, like, impales her. That's a whole other thing. That's, like 2 people get impaled in this series. It's been said many times. They get impaled by lightsabers and, like, nothing happens to them. They recover, in a doctor's bed somewhere and they're fine. That's ridiculous. And listen, Disney's never going to let that go. It's the whole thing of, like, being scarred by merely scarred by a lightsaber in the sequel trilogy. Like, they did that all the time. It's just stupid. But anyways, that's a whole off track thing. So Darth Vader himself impales Reva with a lightsaber, with his lightsaber, leaves her for dead. So you had shown us her being an Inquisitor, but then you had said, oh, big twist, she's always been someone who's trying to kill Darth Vader and get back at him for Order 66 or whatever. So why in the 6th episode is she going after Luke? I don't even understand. Like, there's no story sense to that. You're trying to manufacture drama where it doesn't belong. Your own story doesn't earn it. And so she goes to Tatooine to track down the farmer that she thought was suspicious, and therefore track down Luke. And there's a lot of assumptions because she doesn't even know that the kid is somebody who she has to murder, or why that would be. We know why. He's Luke Skywalker, but she wouldn't know why. And even if she knew all of these things, why is she embarking on this mission at all? It's like Darth Vader just straight up thought he murdered her because he thought silly Darth Vader for thinking that a lightsaber can kill somebody. But he intended to kill her, and so why is she embarking on this mission? But she wanted to get back at Darth Vader. Nothing makes sense. You see how poorly written this is. This isn't something I'm making up. This is something I'm seeing in front of me. And if you wanted to make this character into someone cool, that can carry their own series and be endearing to fans, why don't you do that? Like, why don't you simplify this a bit? Like, have it be that we always knew that she was after Darth, and then she sets up plans to try and kill him. And maybe have that be in another series and not like an Obi-Wan Kenobi series. Yeah, it's the whole thing about Reva, and plus, like, she, if you wanted her to be a villain, there was never any sort of menace from her. I know some others have said this, and I said this from the very beginning. I think that Reva was very miscast here. No offense to the actress Moses Ingram, and I get that there were racist comments hurled at her, but I don't think that should overshadow the idea that perhaps the character is poorly written, underwritten, and perhaps maybe even miscast. Maybe get someone who can play more menacing than Moses Ingram. Like, a lot of her scenes were very cringy, and the writing didn't do her any favors. The staging of everything didn't do her, like, of the shots and everything didn't do her any favors. The design work of the character itself didn't do her any favors either. Because having a normal looking human with these awesome cool guys based on cartoon characters from Rebels looks bad. She looks boring. this is Star Wars after all. And if you're a villain, you should have some sort of visual marker or cue, or maybe even put like war makeup or something on her. Um, Darth Vader, they tried their best to make him menacing. They had him kill fools and stuff and like rip apart a spaceship. There's still wonky things, like giving Reva second chances all the time and stuff and yelling, half the time. Um, all in all, I think he was well handled here. The fact that everything is so poorly lit kind of makes him look cooler because he's reflective of light and stuff. Um, I guess that's okay. I would love to see Darth Vader in full without all this darkness and mire that they have him in this series. I know a lot of people say that Ewan McGregor is fantastic in this series. I don't think so. I think Ewan McGregor can do a lot better than this material that he's given, and he's doing the best that he can, but like the fact is that he's not given a lot to do, and honestly by the end of this series, I probably have the same question that a lot of people have. Why did they make this, other than capitalizing on the name Obi-Wan Kenobi? um Obi-Wan Kenobi doesn't have a lot to do. He saves Leia twice. And that's another thing, the whole Leia thing. Like, Leia clearly has no idea who Obi-Wan Kenobi is other than stories from her father in the original trilogy. Like, in that first movie, the way she talks about him. Like, well, my father told me that you fought with him in the Clone Wars. Like, yeah, she would have said, if this series is canon, she would have said, oh, remember when you saved me twice and like we had bonding moments and we hugged and stuff and you saved my droid and all that stuff? Yeah, that really stuck with me. She's only supposed to be 10 in this show, and she's maybe about 19 in the first Star Wars movie. So yeah, none of the continuity fits. It just doesn't fit. Darth Vader says in episode 4, I call it Star Wars, but some of you call it A New Hope. Darth Vader says, when I left you, I was but the learner. Now I'm the master. Well, that's not true here. He gets his ass kicked. And like, wouldn't he say, like, last time we met, you kicked my ass. Well, I'm not going to let that happen again. Or something like that, right? Look, you could watch this as Star Wars Tales, but this is not Star Wars. And it's not even objectively Star Wars. It's boring. It's flat and lifeless. No fun and wonder of sci-fi elements like cool creatures and things. There's some wonkiness. I mean, like, Obi-Wan doesn't even save Luke at the end. Reva has this big revelation. So, listen, I said, why is Reva after Luke? I don't think she knows, because she's just like, she realized, oh, this script is stupid, and she stops, right? She has a revelation that, oh my gosh, I was a kid Padawan, and, it was unfair for, like, Anakin to walk around bludgeoning all the kids, so I won't do it here, or something like that. And then she starts crying and blubbering about it, and Obi-Wan, like, absolves her. It's like, oh yeah, now we're both free, now you can go on your own adventures and have a TV series that everyone pisses and moans about on YouTube every week. But yeah, listen, this is just an average, shabby show at best. Objectively, it's not a compelling or interesting show. No compelling elements pop up that dovetail into the next episode for you to want to watch the next episode. All of the story elements do not gel and make sense. No moments are earned. Why is Reva doing anything? I don't even know. Obi-Wan Kenobi is whining about how he can't go and save Leia like in the first episode because he's not the man he was, because they just like pigeonhole like a cliched formula onto him. Like, oh, now he's the man that's beginning all over again. Why? Well, because we need some sort of formula for this show. That's the only reason why he's out of practice and he has to get back into practice and all that crap. Um, Rather than respecting the character, respecting the franchise, respecting what the character would be, and then coming up with a arc from there. You know, like I had suggested, maybe he feels guilt for, um, his pupil turning into one of the greatest monsters in his universe's history. Um, that would have been something. You know what also would have been something? Not making this show. I get that you want to capitalize on Obi-Wan and everything, like the name and stuff, but there seems to be no heart and soul or interest or enthusiasm in any of these episodes. It's just rote. It's just let's pigeonhole, formulas on guys and stuff, and like, Reva's bad, Reva's good, Reva's bad again. Why? Yeah, it's this show is frustrating. This makes me want to revisit why I should watch this Andor show coming up next. I think what I'm going to do with that is wait till other people watch it, and if they say it's great, then I'll watch it. If they say it's middle of the road, I'm not going to go on another journey of watching a punishing hour-long show or so, half hour to an hour long, of just meandering with aimlessness and no real hook to the next episode, and everyone is just doing things because the script says so and not because they have agency or any volition of their own. So anyhow, screw Obi-Wan Kenobi, screw this show. I'll never watch this again. And honestly, it's hard to watch because it's so dark. Like, my God, light the thing. Anyhow, that's my 2 cents. I've spoken way too much about this. So that's my review of the Obi-Wan Kenobi series.